was. It skipped a generation. My son is, but I just coached.
How many, please feel the excuse. You're in California, you're in Florida. I tell you this, like,
friends, family, and loved ones, welcome to the ring presentation ceremony for the class of 2015 of the United States Military Academy. I am Cadet Gene Fogg, the Ring and Crest chairperson for the class, and it is my privilege today, along with the first captain, Cadet Austin Welch, to lead the ring presentation ceremony. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for retreat. Today's ceremony commences with the playing of retreat, followed by the firing of a cannon, and then the playing of To the Colors as the flag is lowered. It is appropriate for civilians to stand with the right hand placed over the heart. Veterans and currently serving members of the United States Armed Forces who are not in uniform may render the hand salute. We ask that spectators please remain standing for the invocation. Chaplain Shear will now deliver the invocation.
I invite you to pray with me, if you so choose. Great Lord, as the refiner's fire melts gold to cast it into a new form, so you have refined the class of 2015 into men and women of honor. As stones of diamond, ruby, sapphire are formed by pressure over time, so these cadets have grown and changed into leaders of character. So Lord, bless these cadets, and may the rings they wear be symbols for those they lead. Symbols that their leaders have withstood the crucible, and like the members of the long gray line who have gone before them, may be trusted not only with the mission, but with the lives of their soldiers. This I ask in your great name. Amen.
Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. On 24 February 2014, the class leadership stood next to 29 donors who placed their or their loved ones' West Point class rings in a crucible. The gold melted from these rings was mixed into the gold for our rings, symbolizing our bond with the long gray line. This evening, 3 of this year's donors are with us. The hopes, dreams, and accomplishments that your rings represented are now permanently tied to our hopes, dreams, and potential, and we thank you for your generous gift. To the class of 1965, thank you for your guidance and mentorship throughout our time at West Point. This ceremony is a symbol of the hard work, commitment, and dedication the class of 2015 has put into their past 3 years at West Point. For the next 274 days, our class crest will face our hearts. When we graduate, we will turn our rings so the West Point crest faces our hearts. In the next 274 days, we will find our branches, select our first assignments in our Army. We will set the conditions for the rest of our lives. Fellow members of the class of 2015, our day, June 27th, 2011, marked the beginning of our journey together here at West Point. During the last 3 years, we have created great memories and forged lifelong friendships. Our ring is a symbol that connects us to the long gray line before us and to those who will follow in the ranks behind us. Let us lead the Corps with strength and dignity and integrity. Finally, we thank the Commandant, Brigadier General Thompson. Class, attention! Ladies and gentlemen, Brigadier General John Thompson, the 75th Commandant of the United States Corps of Cadets.
Class of 2015, stand at ease. General Caslin, Command Sergeant Major Byers, Brigadier General Trainer, Colonel Brazel, Command Sergeant Major Duane and Miss Grimm, Mr. and Mrs. Corrigan, Ambassador and Mrs. Daly, senior executive service members, fellow general officers, distinguished guests, the West Point class of 1965, and most importantly, the class of 2015. Good evening. I'm honored by the opportunity to speak to you on this momentous occasion that is perhaps the most significant milestone, with the exception of graduation, of first class year. Firsties, I understand that my speech stands between you and getting your crass mass of brass and glass and enjoying a much-deserved weekend of festivities. Despite your excitement, it is altogether fitting that we take some time to reflect. There are those among you that spent enormous amounts of money developing your rings, while some chose another extreme. Some made a practical decision to buy a combat ring, perhaps looking around at the challenges in the world, knowing that the American soldier always stands ready. Regardless of your choice, those little boxes carry with them more than just pressed gold and cut stones. Each represents your individual commitment, that of the great class of 2015, and further, it is symbolic of your connection to the long gray line. I want to speak briefly about these symbols, the cadet, the class, and the corps on this fine evening. I'd give a special shout out to the chaplain for holding off the weather. It is a fine evening. Thank you. A cadet. Each of you has made and will continue to make some individual choices about your rings. You chose a special stone, inscription, and the like. You will choose how much you wear this ring. Your bugle note states that it is customary until graduation for cadets to wear rings so that the class crest is most easily seen by the wearer. After graduation, the ring is reversed so that the academy crest is the one nearer the heart. When you compare your rings with some of the graduates assembled here, you will find some almost worn smooth on the sides from decades of wear. You can imagine the personal stories, the trials, and the triumphs endured. You will further decide what is done with your ring once your work on earth is done. With heavy hearts, West Point was honored this year to include another ring to the collection in the library. John Eisenhower, West Point class of June 6, 1944, the D-Day class, passed away just 9 months ago. Today his class ring is beside his father's. President Dwight Eisenhower, who was a member of the class that the stars fell on, the West Point class of 1915, which is exactly a century before your class 2015. Of course, your rings mean much more than any individual. As most of you know, the tradition of the class ring itself originated right here at West Point with the class of 1835. Since before the turn of the 20th century, each class has been represented in their rings with the inclusion of the class crest. On your crest, 15 stars are visible on the American flag. Also included is the American bald eagle. I think it is most poignant that the officer and the cadet sabers are bound together by a ribbon, inscribed with your motto, "For those we lead." It will serve as a consistent reminder of your past, present, and future, both here during your last year at the Academy and during your careers in the Army. Your class entered West Point in a time of war. You will leave it in a time of great uncertainty. Through the travails of the coming years, a glance at your ring, upon the eagle, looking intently at your class motto, will remind you why you endure, for those you lead. This common bond will last as your reunions bring you back to brag about how it was in the old Corps. This brings me to the final connection represented in your rings, the Corps. This connection is literal. In February of this year, 29 West Point rings were donated and melted into the gold used to forge the rings of the class of 2015. The donors for your rings span 40 years of graduating classes from 1930 to 1970. Among those years, of course, is the great class of 1965, your 50-year affiliate, who have 5 rings representing 250 years of duty, honor, country. Your 50-year affiliation is an amazing symbol of the long gray line gripping hands across the ages. A few quick notes about your affiliate class, the class of 1965. First of all, we should thank them outright for this weekend. You see, in the West Point's yearbook, the Howitzer, the 65 Ring and Crest Committee claims to have contributed a new and very enjoyable full weekend to the calendar, approved upon by activities on Friday night and Saturday. This is how Ring Weekend came to be, so clearly you have them to thank. Thank you, 65. On a more serious note, 1965 is truly a great class. The gentlemen here tonight represent their legacy, one that includes 79 Purple Hearts, 115 Bronze Stars for Valor, 76 Silver Stars. They include a former Chief of Staff of the United States Army, a former Superintendent of the United States Military Academy, and a Medal of Honor recipient, Mr. Paul Buddy Buca. Many of these patriots will return throughout the next year to support you, but you may also glance at your ring the next time you pass the gym. Carl Robert Arvin, class of 1965, who was killed in action in Vietnam, shall provide you a constant reminder of your connection with the Corps and the class of 1965. Will you all join me in a round of applause for the United States Military Academy class of 1965? You know, I'm kind of new here. They told me I'd be speaking to the cadets tonight. But it kind of occurs to me that the majority of the audience is wrapped around this majestic hillside known as Trophy Point. And represented on that hill are loved ones, family, friends that have nurtured you 2015, that have provided you love and support, that will continue to do so long after you graduate and you are on battlefields and posts far from home. So 2015, if you'd like to, take a moment and thank those loved ones standing on the hill behind you. The cadet, the class, and the Corps. To all the family members and friends in the audience, thank you for your continued support that you give to these great future leaders. It will not be long before this group assembles on yet another field, just on slightly higher ground. In closing, these few minutes of reflection have hopefully served as a reminder that you are receiving more than just a polished stone today. It is a symbol, it is a bond, and it is a charge. May you never forget duty, honor, country, and for those we lead. Congratulations, and go Army. Class of 2015, attention! Ring and crest representatives, post! Companies, distribute your rings.
Class of 2015, don your rings. First class, attention! Uncovered. Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for the singing of our alma mater. You are cordially invited to sing along with us as the alma mater is sung.
Hail, alma mater dear, to us be ever near. Help us thy motto bear through all the years. Let duty be well performed, honor the air untaught, country be ever armed, West poised by thee.
First class, recovered. Class dismissed.